So today we will talk about identity risk and application risk. Or else I can say risk management. Okay. So, since you guys are working in a corporate, so you know what is risk management. So can anyone explain what is risk management? Or else, what is the purpose of having risk management? So risk management helps in avoiding any kind of risk. So in suppose, for example, credit risk management. So before lending a loan, a bank go through all the risks that are involved in giving money to the borrower. So they'll jot down all the points. How much is his credit score, and what's his credit history, and all borrowing history and all. And on the basis of that they'll come to a conclusion, and they prepare a risk management report for that. And so just an example, right? So why they are going to check the credit score each and everything. Because they are not sure whether he's going to repay or not, right? They are going to check his credit history, and they will pay something like, isn't it? Yeah, same way. If we are going to maintain identities and their application access, each and everything, we are going to set some risk values. Okay, the risk management is all about to avoid that data breach. I can say okay. So whenever there is a data breach, we should avoid those kind of things to happen, or else we will try to minimize their impact. Okay. So, as you guys know, risk management is a crucial part for each company. Risk management has to be there so that they can avoid that data breach each and every number of things. Okay. So there is a process to identify and evaluate the risk. Okay, so that they can avoid. So in IAM, in Identity Access Management part also we have a risk management. So we can implement the risk management in IAM, which means in any tool we can implement. As well as Sailpoint, also in Sailpoint. We can assign some risk score for every asset, like we can assign risk score to identity, resource, application, permissions, entitlements. We have a number of objects, so we can assign risk score. So basically, in Sailpoint we are going to assign risk score for entitlement roles and policies and application type of accounts. We can assign some risk score. Based on that, we can evaluate. Okay. Is it clear the moment I'm going to assign any risk? For it will help me to identify the security value of the object. The object would be anything. As I said, it could be identity, it could be roles, entitlement policies, or any type of accounts. Application of votes. Okay, for example, if I'm going to assign some risk value to the entitlement, since the entitlement is a privileged one. Okay, in that scenario, I can easily highlight the particular privilege entitlement, and I can validate whoever is going to have the particular entitlement. I can validate very easily if I'm going to assign some risk score. Okay, so the risk code will be, if, whatever risk what I'm going to assign, I can validate very easily as part of the certification. So let's do the demo so that you can understand. So in the risk management in Sailpoint, we have two types of risk. So one identity risk. So another one application risk. Okay, so in real-time project, I haven't seen no one has used application risk so far. So I have seen an identity risk. Some of the client has been used because if in your system, if you are going to have some 1 lakh entitlement, 1.5 lakh entitlement. So in that scenario, it will be very difficult to do the certification for each and every entitlement and each and every user at the moment. You are going to assign any risk score. You can highlight, you can filter out whoever you have, whatever identity has this high risk, or you can validate very easily. So how we can do that, let's learn. So let's take an example. We have these many identities on us in our system, like 158. So if you have 158, we can validate very easily. We can open one by one, and we can validate whether they have the right entitlement or not. Each and everything. So if I'm going to assign some risk for as of now, we don't have any risk or is sent to any users, any identity. If I'm going to obtain any risk or I can highlight, I can filter out those users, particularly whoever has some high risk score, I can validate very immediately. So that's the purpose of having identity risk score, how we can assign some value. Go to Identities. Click on the Identity Risk Model. Okay. So here we have a two type. One is baseline access risk and another one is composite risk. So in this baseline access risk, I'm going to provide some risk point. So don't worry about the point, because the point we are not the one from Sailpoint admin or Sailpoint developer. We are not going to decide how many risk what we are going to provide. So usually based on the high risk, based on the privilege entitlement, privileged access, they are going to assign some high risk value, high risk point. Okay, just select any one of the things. If I'm going to provide any risk value to roles, then I can open rules. If I'm going to provide any risk value to entitlement, then I can open entitlement. If it is related to policy, then you can open the scene here. It's been clearly mentioned, 0 means low risk, 1000 mean high risk. So in between you can assign any point. So click on the role baseline. Baseline access risk. Okay, so all the rules will be populated, all business role, and I do not organizational role, not entitlements. Okay. So all business and it role will be populated here. Whatever present in your system. Now you can open any privileged one, and you can assign, let's say, a coins payable. So I know this is the high risk, and I mean this is the privileged role. So this should not be assigned to every user. So in that scenario, I'm going to provide some 800 points. So something like for this role, I'm going to provide 932 randomly. I'm giving. So this is a quick and car. I have it assigned. So before that, let me add this role to some identities, because since I have installed new in my system, that's a points payable, a points payable. It wants to see local. Let me submit access request for some random users so that they can have. So I'm going to add this. 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 Okay, so has anyone seen this? Assigning the risk value in any project? Have you noticed? The name Naveen. Yeah, I've seen in one identity. 1.